the National Human Rights Day. And in this day, we protect and we promote rights of all humans in our country, in South Africa. And when I say all humans, I mean people from various backgrounds. It doesn't matter about the race, doesn't matter about the ethnicity, doesn't matter the gender, it doesn't matter anything. For as long as you are human, this is when we are protecting your rights through this Human Rights Day. And the Human Rights Day also commemorates some tragedies that happened during apartheid. In 1960, it was the Sharpeville Massacre, where more than 200 people were killed and injured in Sharpeville. And then also in 1986, around this month, it was in Eitenhage. Anxiety say Eitenhage. That's the word I'm used to. Eitenhage and Ilanga. There were also some atrocities that took place during that day. So through the Day of Human Rights, that is when we are commemorating all those tragedies, all those atrocities, and also promoting and protecting the rights of all humans. And I like it when it states the rights of all humans, because we live in a society that is discriminatory sometimes. We discriminate along the lines of race, along the lines of ethnicity, along the lines of nationality, along the lines of gender, and so yes. So it is important for us as people to always remember human rights and always remember protecting human rights. And yazini, I'm sorry ukuthi ngikhulume kakhulu nginganiki chance. When I hear human rights, it brings to my mind the concept of Ubuntu, Ubuntu-ness, Ubuntuism, because I feel somehow we, instead of saying this day is human rights, but this is a topic for another day, this is my own perspective, we probably should infuse some principles or infuse Ubuntu into it, or maybe just have another day that is dedicated to Ubuntu, because human rights mayilalela ukuthi ikhuluma ngani, ikhuluma exactly ngezinto Ubuntu eziaddressayo, because Ubuntu, it really is about treating everybody with respect, and then it really is about empathy, it really is about kindness given to people, regardless of their nationality, their ethnicity, their gender, their race, whatever the case might be.
Yeah, you know what, Percy? Look, we live in a diverse world. South Africa is very diversified, and human rights, there are plenty of them. But I just want to talk about specific ones now, like the rights inequality. We live in a world whereby people are not stable, there's no balance.
And who created this inequality?
It's the Constitution. No, the Constitution is the one that created the human rights, the specific ones for South Africa. But then also we live in a world whereby there's a lot of poverty happening and people are lacking opportunities. There's plenty of opportunities, but it's not easy for people to get to see them and get to grab them as much as they can.
Why is it the status quo that there is poverty, there's inequality, and there isn't enough opportunities for people to take advantage?
I feel like it's like you were talking about Ubuntu, and again, human rights is also about the rights of speech. So I feel like again, it's a matter of information, being informed and being educated. People, as much as we have the rights, but again, it's still your choice whether you are practicing that right or not, which is a matter of whether you know about that right or you don't know about it. Again, so we can never really say that the government or whoever who came up with this human rights is to be blamed when coming to this. People are practicing their rights that they have, or they're not practicing them. It's about, again, being informed that I do have this right. So now let me practice it to an extent that I want to practice it too. It's still up to you. Hence, like let me talk specifically now about the rights to plenty of opportunities, which will lead to the rights to education. Remember, education is the one that is going to give you the information. Information to what? To all the rights that you have. So if you are not so educated, remember, like hence I said, there's no balance. Other people are educated, others are not educated. So mostly the ones that are educated are likely to be more informed than the ones that are not educated. Then they are going to be the one who are informed.
You know what? I grew up in an era where we were told that education is a key, but somehow I feel in these days we are living in, somebody changed the lock, because there are so many educated people who are unemployed. The majority of the youth in South Africa, more than 40% of our youth is unemployed. And our youth now, in current years, they are more educated than they used to be in previous years. So I feel the right to education, yes, it is something that we should protect. It is something that we should promote. And it is something that we need to encourage people to always get education. But also with the rights, let us also remember the responsibilities, because I feel sometimes as people we tend to forget our own responsibilities. That's the reason why we see the poverty, the inequality, and the unemployment in our society. And what I mean by responsibilities is that as part of human rights and remembering your responsibility as an individual, as a human. And then you should remember the responsibility to be honest. Because to be perfectly honest with you, some of the reason we have inequality, poverty, and unemployment, it's not because people are uneducated. It is because somebody at the top there is being dishonest. It is because some majority of our leaders are corrupt. They even have parallel commissions running at the same time. It is because there is a businessman who's going to get contracts without merit. There is a businessman whom, when they are being investigated, they're going to get hitmen to go and kill people who have evidence against them. They are businessmen who are focused on getting or taking their girls to Dubai or to Turkey to get BBLs with huge amounts of money. The money that is supposed to be distributed equally within the nation. So let's not only place the blame on people not having education and what and whatnot, but let's also place the blame on people not taking the responsibility. Ukuthi bathembeke. So I feel ukuthembeka, being honest, it's a huge responsibility that, especially around this time of human rights, we need to talk about. Yes. Because if we're ungathembeki, you are affecting the rest of humanity. If umama angathembeki about into ubaba womntwana, affect impilo yomntwana, impilo yakhe yonke. Lo mntwana uzosafara nge-identity. If abo businessmen bangathembeki ngendlela abathola ama-contracts ngayo, ngendlela abenza izinto zabo ngayo, ba-affecta yonke i-economy. That's why kunale poverty, ne-inequality, ne-unemployment. It's not because it's not only the reason which abantu they are uneducated, but it is because we only exercise our rights, but we forget the responsibilities that we need to uphold.
Yes.
So that's one thing I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, and you are getting too deep, Mabizela. No, yehlisa. Konje bathi ngesizulu bathi, oh, yeah, yehlisa. But there's a saying ngesizulu ukuthi yehlisa phethi phephe or phephisa yona leyo. Before we get deeper into the responsibilities, obviously there's someone who's responsible to be doing all this and making sure that they're responsible, that the society is getting and they're aware of their human rights. Talking about awareness, everything that you have mentioned, it speaks so much to the opportunity. People are not aware of the opportunities that they have. The opportunity to be educated, number one, because it's a very big one, that one. The opportunity to be employed, also another one. We live in a world whereby there's a system that is teaching us that you go to school, you start with a preschool, you go to primary, secondary, university, and then you're gonna be employed, which is filtered information. You can't just be employed if you don't go and knock at the door. You going knocking at the door, it's you knowing that there is an opportunity now for me. Now that I have done all the systematical education and I have this papers, now I have an opportunity to be employed. Yes. So now that responsibility, it's not only of that man at the higher seat, it's also your responsibility as a human. But the thing is, the fine line is, you are not aware that you have that opportunity to be employed. You have that opportunity to be a businessman. You have that opportunity to be an entrepreneur. And being an entrepreneur, being a business person, to be employed not only by someone else or by some company or by some other businessman, you can still be employed by yourself. That's still your responsibility. Do you get my point? So we can't really put the blame on the people that are sitting at the higher ranks. You understand? So the fine line here is the need to be awareness of this human rights and their responsibilities. Yes.
Right without responsibilities.
What are they? Yes, they are clueless. They are not useful. So as much as there's the constitution, South African constitution, and it has this human rights in them, but there's responsibilities that they come with, and everyone is responsible for the responsibilities. You just have to see and know and be informed and be aware that I can go this much, I can go this far, I can go as far as I want to.
And talking about responsibility, we always talk about inspiration in our podcast. Having responsibility is also understanding that you might not get the reward or you might not experience the consequences for which you're working for right now. But it is something that happens gradually, as we've always spoken about resilience, as we've always spoken about courage, because as you are in the pursuit of whatever it is, be it school, be it entrepreneurship, be it getting employment, I don't think the road is going to be easy. No one promised us that everything is just going to be smooth sailing. So taking responsibility, it is also being accountable for whatever challenges that you're going to encounter along the way, knowing that you would always find a way to overcome, and knowing that you're going to take responsibility to not surrender and to not retreat at the face of adversity.
I hear you. So now the thing that I wanna push more is the fact that you are also responsible of your rights. You are practicing that right. To be specific, right now, the right that you are practicing right now is the right of speech. This is the right of speech that we are practicing. We saw an opportunity that we are free to speak, to be outspoken, to share information, to educate people about the insights that are happening in Africa, and then now we are being responsible of this right.
I was listening to a radio station yesterday. I'm not even going to mention their name because I don't want to give them free publicity on our platform. So at this radio station, they were speaking about in a certain country, I think it's Switzerland or something, they have started providing free sanitary uh, pads and free sanitary material for women. And they've also made it a right for women that whenever it is that time of the month, they can also take a day off or two from work. So I feel that's a very great stride in terms of promoting women's rights. I'm not sure if we can get there as a country in South Africa, but then I'm just thinking widely about, when we talk about rights, let us also remember to promote women's rights, because as I tell you, mina ngikhuliswe abafazi abayithutho, mina ngikhuliswe umama nogogo, and I'm always indebted to them for the way they raised me, and for that I would always be a voice that speaks out for women, in whatever challenges they might find themselves, because I did realize of how much power a woman and how much influence a woman can have in my life. So I have much respect for women, and I feel let us commemorate also women's rights and not only their rights, women, they also need to take responsibility of their own lives.
Yes,
You cannot be going around meeting men on social media and then meeting them in the private spaces and then coming out and saying, I got abused by men. Yeah, amadoda ayasibulala amadoda says that. Kodwa uwe uhlangane nalabantu ku-social media ku-inbox yawo mawuceda wena wathatha i-decision yokuthi uhambe uyomvakashela loyo muntu lo. So akwazi ukuthi ungazoblame amadoda ngazinto ezikanjalo. You understand? So ile nto engiyikhulumayo ukuthi rights do come with responsibility.
Yeah, and before you go further, I like your point that we need to also promote women, to be specific, which now says we are talking now about gender equality, or rather say gender inequality. So with your thing that you had from some radio about the sanitary issue that is happening and day offs, I'm a woman myself, and I know it's not a good feeling going through, when you are on your days. But I don't think it's necessary, guys. We already have a lot of holidays. There's Mother's Day, there's Women's Day, and this thing happens each and every month, January to December. So that means
on different days.
on different days. Yeah, no, it's a lot.
So it means every day there's going to be a number of stuff that is going to be on.
So I feel like, no, I don't think it's necessary. It's not necessary. This thing is a feeling that us as women, we gotten used to, and we have ways on how to deal with it. So I don't think it's necessary for us to be given day offs because now we are feeling in some certain way. No, 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 no. I don't think so. I don't think we're gonna waste more time and we're gonna be spoiled, even more spoiled. We are already spoiled as women naturally. I will just say, are you gonna prove? How are you going to prove that it's that time of the month?
I wouldn't even want to prove. That's the point. I wouldn't even
You mean the thing again is already we have what is it called? We get day of maternity leave. I've seen Nami when I'm reading. I read a lot, obviously. There are some other parts of the world whereby they are initiating that. Also, the men, they have the right. They need to be also treated the same because they are the father. Isn't it? I'm the mother and I'm getting the maternity leave. Why is the father not getting the maternity leave?
I like what you're saying when you're also talking about men, because when it comes to promoting human rights, let's not only promote women's rights, let's also promote men's rights. Ngoba nyazi maningi amadoda who are going through a lot. Kunamadoda who are paying maintenance and they're not even seeing their children. Kunamadoda whom are prohibited from being present daddies. Not all absent fathers, they are actually absent fathers. Some of them, they are prohibited. Some of them, they're discouraged because of the way that the women are treating them and because of the way the current system, it's not protecting men's rights. I can say, for example, when it comes to issues such as gender-based violence, it's usually spoken of that ever so often when men want to report a case on abuse or when a man is being abused by women, police start laughing at them at the police station. So we also have men who are also being abused. So we also need to look out for men's rights, also need to protect and also need to promote men's rights. And talking about GBV, mina angazi ngaphakamisela umuntu wesifazane isandla. I'd never laid a hand on a woman. But I've had a girlfriend, me, who beat me up 3 times. Not once, not twice, 3 times. Until I was out of that relationship. So it just goes to show how gender-based violence should not be biased, in protecting only women and should not only be subjective only to women, but then also men, they do suffer gender-based violence. And then sometimes as men, when we suffer gender-based violence, who's there? Who was there for me when my girlfriend was beating me up? Because when I told my boys, they laughed at me. They never said, "Asabe siyovulika police station." But if you are to tell your girls that, okay, you pay boyfriend, immediately they're going to be your social support structure and you're going to be taken to the police station, and then supporting every statement that you are making. So there still is inequality between genders. And when we talk about gender-based violence, and we're talking about gender equality, let's not only protect and promote women's rights. Let's also think about other men out there who are being abused, other men out there who are being mistreated, who are being disrespected in their own households because ubaba wala akafani nobaba Khumalo uceda kuthenga i-Hilux nobaba wala waselokuhamba ngale moto le uyabona i-15 years yonke nani akanayo imoto for the sake, but leyo ndoda leyo, he's up every morning doing what's right, making sure ukuthi the needs and the essentials of the family are being met. So I think let's just tend to have that's why mina ngikhuluma ngobuntu ukuthi human rights also needs to have sort of like a slogan that goes along Ubuntu trajectory. Okay, as much as we're talking about protecting and promoting rights of women, but let's also talk about promoting and protecting the rights of men. So when we're going full second, that's when we realize that we are actually promoting the ideals of Ubuntu. Asiphathane kahle, izandla ziyagezana, asinakekelani. Lokhu okwenzayo namhlanje kuzobuya ngakuwena. So bhekisisa ukuthi umenza nomunye umuntu, ungenza omunye umuntu into ongeke uthande yenzeke kuwe, because whatever you do unto another person, this thing is like a vicious cycle. It's going to come back and haunt you. It's going to come back and find you one way or the other.
So, it's human science. It's actually human science, which I usually like mirroring the issue of gender-based inequality with a personal issue. Remember, earlier on I mentioned about when you were talking now about responsibilities and the people at the high ranks. You see now this one, it's a very good example because what is the man at the high ranks or rather the middleman going to do with this kind of an issue? Because it's very personal. We've gotten to a point whereby we know the triggers of our romantic partners. And then I know if I want to provoke him as a woman, because now women are given this platform. It's more like gender-based violence, to be specific, and femicide. It's faced with women. Basically, like
it's women's side.
Yeah, it's women's side that only like the main people that are getting attention when coming to this issue is women. Talking about discrimination, it's one topic that I've been contemplating on by myself. I do a lot of thinking. I'm an overthinker. And obviously, I'm a public servant. These are the issues that are affecting me too. So, this discrimination issue, it usually comes with entitlement. People are so entitled. Angeke nisukele kuphi nizoza la emhlabeni wethu. Mhlaba wakho. Unomhlaba wena. Are you God? Unomhlaba wena. Did you create the soil? Umhlaba akusiyo wakho. We are passing. Emhlabeni wethu bazosithathela abafazi, bazosithathela imisebenzi. Look at this lazy nigger talking. So most of the time when I come across such people who are talking about those kind of issues, I usually just advise accordingly. And then if they take it, they take it. If they don't, it's none of my business. That's their responsibility again. I'm teaching them what I can, So entitlement, it's another big problem. People, they are not afraid of being entitled to you. You passing I am. Uphezulu now. My boyfriend.
Uzobe uyi-one nanomufa uzobe uyi-one emgodini wakho.
Yes.
Put it that way.
It's the honest truth. It's the honest truth. And again, I feel like this is why now with the Property Act now specifically, that's why there's the title deeds, because now they are trying now to section and allocate, okay, as much as this mhlaba issue, the land issue is a big issue. let's section something for you. Hence, there's full title and the sectional title. You need to understand now the difference. You need to be entitled to something that you know it's yours. But don't just say South Africa, Mhlaba wethu. And you know what I don't like about it? It's most of the time black against black. Yeah. The borders, right? They
It
created
really
something.
separates
The
us.
separation, the geography.
That's why I feel, with human rights, let us reinstill the spirit of Ubuntu. Because, with our Ubuntu, that's when we will tend to understand, and that is why when we'll be tolerable, and that is when we're also going to be responsible. Because, to be perfectly honest with you, there are other people who are, creating worst situations in our country. There are other people who are not being fruitful, in our country, because they also lack a sense of responsibility. Yes. And a sense of purpose. That okay, since I am here, this should be my responsibility, and this should be my purpose. And we can go on and on about these different rights. And here's a big and a very challenging one.
Before you move on to that one, I just want to talk now about the discrimination of color. The color. White people, black people. I know it's big language, but it's what is happening. We are being real right now. I see this mostly in companies, specifically private companies. I've seen private companies whereby it's being owned by white people, and they'll be saying we are working in a black market, meaning they are working with black people. But if you look at the stuff now, the inside of the stuff, it's a white company working with the black market, but they don't have the black stuff in their company. What is that? What is that? It's black and white. Like it's too clear. But again, now, that's now the stupidity. When I think of it, I'm like, this company people, they're not being real with themselves. Because how do you work with the black market, meaning black people, while you don't have the black stuff? Do you think you're going to crack this?
Representation.
Do you think you're going to crack it however you want to? You won't. It's not going to get as deep. The trick is, which other companies are doing, I've seen them, they will be taking a black representative into their companies. Hence, they will also have like the BEE, black umbrella, because they understand now the science. But others, they don't do that. If you have a black representative because you want to crack the black market, why don't you bring in the black representative so that you can easily, because now that black market of the black representative is going to give you the insights on how to crack the black market. You get my point? But now I feel like this color discrimination is happening most of the time with private companies. I don't know what you're going to be doing. Now, I'm not responsible for that. I tried, but when they don't want you, they don't want you. But again, it's their responsibility now. Going back to responsibilities, if they want to win, they need to have a black representative. This is just the tip. Whoever who's taking it for them, they can just take it. If they don't want to, that's us.
Yeah, and then another very controversial right I want to talk about is right to religion or freedom of religion and freedom of belief. Because, religion and beliefs have divided people, from all walks of life, and they've also caused a lot of controversy within the nation. So my take on belief and religion, I am a spiritual person, and I am brought up in a background of Christianity, and as well as, also preserving and promoting cultural values as well. So with that, I feel, especially in recent days, we have a lot of people who are spreading information, forcing people that no, you can only choose one. You cannot. It's either you're this, it's either you're that. And then there are people also spreading information, talking negatively about a certain religion or a certain belief. I feel that is a little bit unacceptable, in the world that I exist in, idealistical, because with the freedom of religion and freedom of belief, you are free to believe in whatever you want to believe in. If you don't want to believe, then don't believe. If you want to believe, then do believe. And if you want to believe in 3 or 4, 5 things at the same time, believe in those 3 or 4, 5 things at the same time. Because at the end of the day, whatever you believe in is what's going to shape your own life. So I wouldn't want to impose my own belief on other people. I know this might be against the Christian ideals of winning souls and bringing souls closer to God. But I do that, in as much as I can. I do communicate, or I do talk with people about God. I do talk with people about belief now and then. But I feel there is a lot of impositioning that's happening in our society, and especially through social media, where people impose their own beliefs. They impose their own, hey, no, you cannot be black and then believe in that. If you are black, you must believe in this. Hey, you cannot believe in that because this is how this was brought in. It was brought in through rifles and through violence and whatnot and whatnot. So one thing about belief and religion,
Beg. Before you get deeper, I see now you are within. I just want to understand. My understanding is you believe in culture and you also believe in Christ, right? How do you mix the two? Because I
it's
feel
not
like
about mixing the two.
it's about
According
what
to
is it?
me,
Yeah, yeah.
according to me, it is about how I was raised up. And I saw my grandmother living a very, very long time and a happy life, and without having any challenges. She always believed in going to church. So we grew up, going to Sunday school. Monga esontweni ayavalwa masango, and then uyohlala ngaphandle type of a thing. But I grew up with that Christianity belief, and then going to church. We were participating in Sunday school. Was a leader of Sunday school at a certain point, sang in the church choir, and then I still do preach whenever given an opportunity. So yes, I do believe in God, and I don't have a problem with someone who doesn't believe in God, because I do believe that when time comes, they might find a reason to believe. Even if they didn't find a reason to believe, there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. It's their life at the end of the day. Life is life through the eyes of who is living it. So yes, with that, everything that I am, it is what I saw at home being practiced. So it's also about upbringing. Yes. And then also with culture, as I mentioned earlier on, Ubuntu is a culture. So we grew up with the ideas of Ubuntu, meaning you need to respect everyone regardless of which religion they're coming from. You need to respect everyone regardless of whatever belief system that they have. So this is the culture that I have now. So that's how the two mix. The two mix in a sense of mutual respect. I respect you, you respect me, that's good. The two mix in a sense of promoting respect, tolerance, and most importantly, love. It is the culture of kindness, it is a culture of tolerance, it is a culture of love, a culture of patience. So these are the 4 beliefs that I uphold. So these are the cultures that I talk about when I talk about culture. Yes. So I feel, well, in recent years, there's a lot of confusion, and especially through social media, people imposing their own beliefs, their own religions on others. And through human rights, what I really say is, let us promote and let us protect and let us preserve everyone's religions and everyone's beliefs, because at the end of the day, life is life through whoever is in it.
So basically, what you're saying is humans have the right to believe in whatever that they want to believe in. As long as you are 100% that mean I believe in this thing. The thing now, according now, my take when coming to this belief thing is if you don't have a belief, that means you don't have a belonging. And if you don't have a belonging, that means you're just going to be taken away by anything that comes your way. Hence, we have false prophecies and everything. Nalaba baphuma kuphi kuphi baza ngala, because they know those people who don't have a belief, who are still finding themselves and they still looking for a belonging.
But Mina Nomi, I don't think people who don't believe are bad people.
I'm not saying they're bad people.
You can be kind, you can be righteous, you can be optimistic in your outlook in life.
I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're bad. My point here is you need to have a belonging. So personally, in my life, growing up with everything that I'm doing, also I believe in God. I pray so much. I'm a cultural woman, cultural urban woman. I wasn't having a problem. I just wanted to understand your perspective when coming to this. Yes, because now people out there, they're learning from us, isn't it? So I wanted to understand your perspective. Look at you right now. You finding out that I'm also just like you. So I believe in God. I'm also a cultural urban woman because I don't do so much of culture. But again, my point here is you need to have
the thing with culture, we need to understand. I believe culture is dynamic. It changes all the time.
Yes.
What we're doing now, it is our culture for now. It is how our children are going to be brought up, and it is how they also going to live, or it is how they also going to build. This is the foundation that they're going to build from. So that's the thing with culture. It is dynamic. It changes all the time. And then earlier on, I wanted to talk about this term. Let me just tell you what my late friend Umpo shared with me. She shared with me a very important concept. It's zeitgeist. Let me just quickly look at it. Maybe someone,
Yeah. Why are you busy doing that?
It's zeitgeist. So with zeitgeist, it talks about the spiritual time, how time changes and also changes humanity. You cannot, we're living in a technological world, fourth, fifth industrial revolution, whatever you want to call it, and you cannot still be having the same beliefs. You might still be having the same basics or the principles, but you cannot continue life as if we're still living in, before all these industrial revolution. You still want to get around in a house, you still want to, live in a farm somewhere, excluding yourself from everything.
It can happen.
Yes, it is possible. It can happen. But that is the whole zeitgeist concept, that you need to look at what's currently happening now. And then, zeitgeist meaning, I just found it. The defining spirit or mood of a particular period is the spirit or mood of a particular period of history as shown by the ideas and beliefs of the time. So it is the ideas and the beliefs of the time that you are living in. Because also need to remember, culture was created by people who lived at that time, who, whatever they believed in, they saw fit, they saw suitable at that time. So you and I, we are also creating our own culture, also creating our own beliefs right now. Why? Because of what we see is suitable and what we see it is convenient for us in this time we are living.
Yeah, I get you. So I just want to take you back a little bit. Remember how I started? I said, what you're saying is because we're talking about humans' rights, right? So each and every human, they have a right to believe. Ne? And then you spoken about yourself, which you believe in Christ and you also believe in culture. So am I. Ne? But, very big but, modern culture. So, which is what you just.
That is what you created.
Yes.
There's absolutely nothing wrong.
Basically, what is modern culture? Modern culture is evolving. It's me understanding that culture is not going to stay the same way all the time. That doesn't mean that I don't have to value where culture comes from, And then with all that said, now I want to talk about those people who are not practicing their rights of believing, because when I look at it, when they're not practicing that, that means they don't belong. So there's a belief. If you have a belief, then you have a belonging. Do you understand? There's nothing wrong with having them, having one, or having none. But again, my thing is, if now you don't have a belonging, then that's when you get to be looted by those people who are coming in, and they will just come with their belief, and they'll be like, this is what God is. If you saying when you believe in God, or you know there's God, but you just want to find out, or how does God work, then you get to be easily looted because you don't belong anywhere. That's my point. So practice your right as a human being to believe in something. Believing in something doesn't mean only God, doesn't only mean culture. There's plenty of them. There's plenty of options. You can create your own if you want to, but you just need to have a belonging. That's my point. Have a belong, because if you don't belong somewhere, then I am gonna come with my modern culture and I'm gonna loot you out of wherever because you just been taken by the wind, and then I'm gonna loot you into my belief. And you're gonna belong to who now? To me. Or you are going to come and tell them and then they will just be going with whatever. So my point is there's power in practicing this right of believing. Because when you believe in something, you're going to belong somewhere. Now you get me. Now you get me. I'm not judging anyone. I'm not saying anyone is wrong. I'm just saying you need to have that. We are human beings. We have rights to options. We have rights to opportunities. Yes, we have rights to. We just have to understand whatever rights that we are practicing, it comes with responsibilities. So we have to balance these things. You understand? Don't just sit there and go like, I go wherever the wind is going, because it's gonna take you places. It might also take you down the grave.
And that's so true. That's so true. Now, well, eventually, the purpose of our communication or the purpose of our topic today was just commemorating human rights. And we've spoken so many things, we've touched on quite a number of rights. But what really stood out for me is the fact that with human rights comes great responsibility. So as humans, from whatever background, race, nationality, ethnicity, gender, or whatsoever, we need to take responsibility of our lives. And then we also need to take responsibility of our own purpose. We also need to be optimistic in this life that we are living. And yeah, wishing you a happy Human Rights Day.
Yeah. Before we
Happy
seal
Human
it,
Rights Day.
now here's the big question. How are you going to be fulfilled by the human rights if you are not practicing them? So you need to practice your human rights.
By taking responsibility, of course. Yeah. So it can't just be rights. Rights equals responsibility.
Of course.
And I have a responsibility now.